Let us start our journey to learn a Python. So whenever we start learning a new language, the first thing that we do is to interact with the console. That is the easiest thing to start understanding a language. When we consider test bench written in a Python, the primary usage of a console will be to debug our code. So we apply some stimuli to a duty, and there are components that will receive the response from the duty. Our target will be to see whether the component that received the response is matching to the expected data. So when we apply stimuli, we have an idea what should be an expected response. So when we analyze the values of the components that receives the response, it gives us an idea whether our duty is working as expected, and that will be the primary usage of logging. So we have two ways to log the data on a console. First one is utilizing a print method, and second one is utilizing the package logging to log the data on a console. Logging is quite useful as compared to simple print method. We'll be understanding how logging is useful as compared to print. First, we'll proceed with the print and then we proceed to a logging. At the end, we'll also be considering some of the used cases of a logging when we write our test bench in a Python. We start by sending some random string on a console. So let us just use a print method, and to specify the data as a string, we can use either a single quote or a double quote. So we use a single quote, we add the statement as hello. So now if you save the code and try to execute the code, you could actually observe we able to send some data on a console, and this is the same data that we have added as an argument to a print method. So this is how we send string to the console. Now it may be possible we have a requirement where we want to send multiple string together on a console. So we could add one more print method and then add all over here. So with this modification, if you try to execute the code, we see if we add two print method, by default print statement add new line character at the end of a statement, and that is the reason you could see when we print all, it has been printed on new line. So it automatically add a new line character at an end. We have an capability to modify this behavior. So we could use an end method of a print and modify this behavior to specify what should be at the end of an handle. So let it just add comma and then end equals to, here we just want to have a space. We could add single quote and then space. With this modification, now if you proceed, you could now see we able to modify the new line character to a space, and then we get our expected result. Now, if you want to specify both of this word in the single print statement, that is also possible. So we could use print, then hello, this is one of our word, and then we add a comma and all. So these are two distinct words which we have specified in a print method. Now, if we try to again execute the code, we get the same result. So when we add comma, it basically add spaces between the two distinct words. That way you could add multiple strings inside the print method. Now, sometimes it may be possible that you do not want to add spaces between the two words. You simply need to combine both the words, but that is also possible by utilizing a concat operator. So if we proceed like this, let it just add hello again. And now to add multiple string, we use plus, which is concat operator for a string, and then again add an hello. With this modification, now if you try to execute the code, you could see it no longer add space. We directly get both the word combined. So if we add a comma, this will add space between the words, and if we use a plus operator, do not add space between the words. Now the difficulty with a concat operator is it do not support printing values of a variable. Let it just add one temporary variable data and assign some value. To assign a value to a variable, we use equals to operator and then a value as an 8. So here we are specifying that we want to add a value of 8 to a variable data. Now we wish to print the value of a data. The process is very simple. We could just call the variable by its name. Here the name of a variable is data, and here also we have specified it to be data. Now if we try to execute the code, you could see we able to get 8. Now our target will be to print string as well as the value of a variable. So in this case, we could proceed like this: print a value of data, and then we add a comma and specify the variable which is data. Now, if you try to execute the code, this is what we are expecting. If we try to use plus instead of a comma, now this will throw an error. So plus operator only supports strings. It won't support printing value of a variable direct. But we do have some conversion operator that could be used to convert our variable value to a string. So to convert data, which is an integer variable, to a string, we simply need to use the method str. This will convert our variable value to a string. And with this modification, now we have string on both left and right of our concatenation operator. So we could see now we able to print the value. And since plus do not add any space by default, we need to add space to distinguish between the value and the string. We will be looking into different conversion operator as we progress further.